Let's shift our focus now to a remarkable journey of resilience and innovation in the wake of Hurricane Andrew, a disaster that profoundly shaped the life and career of James Evans. As he reflects on the devastation he witnessed, James reveals how those early experiences fostered his passion for protecting livelihoods through technology.
My name is James Evans, and this is my story of empathy and understanding. I am a cybersecurity and IT company CEO. We provide protection to the businesses that build America. That is architecture, construction, engineering, manufacturing. Of course, we help other companies and other industries as well. But my big thing is just trying to protect these folks from cyber attacks. Cyber attacks are a huge problem these days, and the attackers, those bad guys that are out there, they just, frankly, they just piss me off. So having empathy in business, it really helps me connect with the client. I cannot do my job and be the protector of livelihoods for these industries if I can't connect with them and make that sale inevitably. When I was it was just before my 16th birthday. We lived in Miami, Florida, and Hurricane Andrew hit. Now, we weren't there when the hurricane actually arrived. We had left on vacation and were visiting family up in Virginia. And suddenly we turned on TV in the hotel room and there's this massive storm heading for South Florida. We rushed back home and found a disaster area. It was a pretty big turning point in my life, to put it simply. Overnight, I went from teenager, high school student to I had to grow up real fast. We didn't have electricity. We didn't have windows, doors, or most of our roof. We did still have some walls standing. Our home happened to be a little older, and it was actually masonry construction. Newer homes that were all wooden construction were completely demolished. There were just piles of rubble where there used to be a two-story house. There's just nothing left standing. It was a shock to the system, to say the least. But after going through that, I learned quite a bit about my own ability, my family's ability to have such a disaster hit and how to recover, how to actually not panic, stay calm, and do what you have to do to get through. It's very important that I don't overload business executives and business leaders with a bunch of technical jargon that's going to quickly leave them bored. So what I tend to do is I tell stories. Stories are very relatable. Those stories really help them connect because we're talking about business risk, the impact to the business, the impact to employees, the impact to clients. We're not talking about technical mumbo jumbo and three-letter acronyms and terms that are just going to make people tune out. Cybersecurity is an arms race between our clients and the bad guys. And the bad guys are always evolving their techniques, their tactics, their practices, and so are we. We're always evolving the way we protect. We're constantly keeping on the cutting edge and making sure we have three core areas of protection. The prevention tools, like your firewalls, your antivirus, but detection tools, because things still get by. At the end of the day, there are human beings that are making decisions and taking actions on behalf of the company, and sometimes people make mistakes. And finally, once we detect something, we need to be able to respond to it quickly. Because if you detect something that goes wrong and no one does anything about it, then the hackers win. What we do to keep the client educated is keep it focused on risk and just constantly try to evolve the practice so that what we're doing a year ago, it's not what we're doing today, it's not what we're going to do tomorrow. But without having the client involved, you don't get that buy-in. Security has to be a top-down culture within a company. And so as long as we're having those meetings with the right people, they can instill that culture in their organization. We were contacted in the middle of tax season by a CPA firm. And if you've ever worked with a CPA firm, you know in the middle of tax season, they don't do anything but taxes. That's That's their job. You don't mess with tax season. So we knew something was up. The CPA firm had received a word from the IRS that their ability to e-file had been terminated. The reason for that was excessive fraud. And what had happened was one of the principals had their email account hacked into. Now, the hackers didn't go in there and send a million emails or spam mails. They didn't do anything that would even tip this person off that there was anything wrong with their email. All the principal of the CPA firm knew is when he tried to log into the e-file system one morning, it said his password was invalid. So he reset his password and went about his day. The next day he came back in, said his password was invalid. Reset password. And this time he wrote it down. Made sure that he typed it right, didn't make any typos, wrote it down. Third day, came in, password invalid. What is wrong with this thing? Well, every night, the hacker was logging into his email account and doing the exact same thing. Reset password, log into the e-filing system, and file fraudulent tax returns. In a week's time, they had filed 140 fraudulent tax returns, all of which were redirecting tax refunds into the attacker's offshore account. The IRS caught it and shut him down. So now you had a CPA firm in the middle of tax season with no ability to file. Can you imagine what that would be like to have your company shut down during your peak business cycle? That's how I framed the story. And most business owners get it, because business owners almost exclusively, they all have CPAs. They all have someone assisting them with bookkeeping, with taxes. They can connect with that story. And while they might think to themselves, well, if it happened to me, I'd get a new CPA, then you have to dig a little bit deeper. What did that mean to that company's reputation? How many of that company's customers had to make that move and go find someone else to do their taxes? What happened long-term to that company and its sales and its prospects? What did the company's competitors do? They had a field day. So when you start looking at that kind of damage, you put it into that kind of perspective of business damage, now you've got the attention of another business owner. But if I started that story with the technical stuff, well, the principal of the CPA firm did not have multi-factor authentication turned on his email account. Good night, time to take a nap. Not interesting. Never Split the Difference has had a huge impact on me. One of the big takeaways I got from a particular chapter where he talked about how people are coming at the same issue from very different backgrounds and very different experiences. It can catch us off guard to the point that we can hear something they say and just think, hey, that's crazy, that's nuts. How can someone think that? But what Voss said was, don't go around thinking people are crazy. Understand them, empathize with them, learn where they're coming from, listen to them. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had a client with a business email compromise. It was a Friday night. Everyone's checked out, everybody's ready for the weekend. And I'm at home and I receive a call from one of my security engineers. And he's telling me that he just saw suspicious activity on a client's account, shut down the account, was calling me to let me know what was going on. The two of us investigated a little together to put together a full picture of what was going on. And we called the client and I explained what had happened and asked, did you receive any suspicious emails earlier today? He said, yeah, I did. And he told me the story of receiving an email from someone, I think her name was Leslie. And Leslie had sent him a strange email that when he tried to open it, prompted him to log into his email account. And he thought that was unusual, and he sent an email back to Leslie, hey, is this right? Is this legit? And he got an email back saying it was. So he logged in, and things still didn't open correctly, and he didn't think much of it, some kind of error. It was Friday, he'd worry about it later. But what had happened was it had taken him to a fake login page, and he had given his username and password and credentials to the hacker. The attacker attempted to log into his account at 7:02 p.m. At 7:06 p.m., I was on the phone with my security engineer. In that 4-minute window, we had already shut down the account, changed the passwords, and locked the hackers back out. That's the detection. That's response. Prevention didn't work that day, even though this particular CEO had had the training. So prevention did not prevent, but detection worked, response worked, and the CEO was happy and thanked us for being there on Friday night.
James reminds us that understanding the needs of others not only strengthens our connections, but also empowers us to make meaningful contributions to our communities. As we move forward, let's carry these lessons with us, seeking to protect and uplift one another in every challenge we face.